Hey everybody, it's Garrett. We're out here on the compost pad today, adding our biodynamic preparations to the pile. We just finished our second turn of the year. These piles were built last October, so they've been maturing for going on a whole year, about 3/4 of a year. During that time, we've turned them twice, and as you can see, the consistency of the pile is much more homogeneous. The straw and hay that we incorporated with the dairy manure, all of the waste streams from the farm, all are no longer recognizable as we have this really beautiful finished compost, almost finished. We'll give it a couple more weeks before we spread it. And so the final step after the final turn is to add the compost preparation. So this is part of our biodynamic practice, and there are 6 compost preps. They're known by a number first, so this is the 502 prep or the yarrow preparation. And we add each of the 6 compost preps to each of the piles, and because our piles are so large, we think they're about 100 tons, we're going to add each set of preps, that's 502 through 507, on one side and then go around the other side of the pile and add it. And we actually have a very special 7th preparation today, which is the lees from our winemaking. The valerian prep 507 is also a liquid preparation, and what we do is we pour half of it into a hole to get it into the inside of the pile, and then we also spray valerian over the top of the pile to kind of put this blanket of valerian. We're going to do the same thing with our lees today. The winery is getting ready for another round of bottling, so we're racking the wine, and when we rack the wine, we leave the lees, which is essentially dead yeast cells that the wine has been resting on and aging on for its whole life. We're going to take the lees, which is a good nutrient source, as well as an inoculation of good yeast. We want to put it back into the pile, and then when we go to spread this compost all around the estate, we're also spreading those yeasts that were responsible for fermentation, so kind of doubling down on that effort. So practically, the way that we do that is I've taken off a portion of this yarrow since we're prepping all 3 piles today, and we want this preparation to stay moist inside the pile. So we insert it pretty deep, and then we start to collapse this hole around it to make sure that that prep is buried completely and will retain some moisture as it continues to inform this pile. So we're gonna go down and do a couple more. I'm gonna measure out the 503 or chamomile preparation as well. We're doing about 1/8 of a cup per side or 1/4 cup per pile. Again, this seems like probably a tiny amount of compost preparation to inoculate what ends up being about 100 tons. And we do this amount twice. So it is a very small amount. It is an inoculation, and the effect of these preparations will radiate out through the pile as well as be physically distributed throughout the farm when we spread these piles and also when we turn. I like to just tuck them in, like tuck it in the baby at bedtime.